Welcome to another week at the Oresh house, and from now on we're going in through this door. This is our new front door. I'm standing in the porch, but the porch no longer matters because this is the entrance to the smart house in Oresh. This week begins with a patio door opening being created. It's a large hole to be knocking out, but we could use the bricks, let's face it. And then the frame of the patio door can be put into its rough position. Obviously a lot more tinkering to do with this. And bear in mind there's no glass in at this point, and then suddenly it starts to rain. Now rain showers don't often last long here, but they're pretty heavy when they're in progress. Remember last month when I had a picture of me cuddling a little kitten that my wife took? Well, we were sitting outside Deja Vu in Svishtoff, and this kitten came out from under a car. It was actually crying a bit, but it's got such a little voice you can hardly hear it, and we had immediate concern about its safety and well-being. Then it walked under the table we were sitting at with our food, and we discovered it had some food of its own down by my feet. I hadn't noticed this up to now. The reason I asked Ruth to take the photographs of me when I actually picked up the kitten was because it wouldn't let me come near with the camera. Anytime I came anywhere near it with my video camera, it was off. On Tuesday at the house there's a variety of activities taking place. Obviously plastering goes on nearly every day. They're getting the roof timbers taken out to the extension at the back, and the work on the roof will start soon. Useful that there's no glass in the doors yet, as you can bring the OSB in through the opening. OSB has slowly become more popular than plywood for this type of building, and it's worth a look at how OSB is created right from the very start with the logs to right through the whole process of making the stuff. It's probably worth me mentioning that not all OSB production is done on this vast scale, but this does show what can be done if you're fully automated, right down to the last shrink wrap being put on for sending off to the various stores around the country. This is the piece of municipal land by my property in Oresh. A few weeks ago we had two storks from the village come up here, two telegraph poles there. They sat on one on each, We don't know why at the moment. Maybe they're looking to build a nest up here next year. But somebody's told me that, and it may have been Davy, if the storks fly over your garden, it's lucky. So if they're going to come and sit at the bottom of our garden and even nest there next year, hopefully that's extremely lucky. A few days ago, one of the storks was on that telegraph pole over there, and the other one was down the bottom, and so they've been more than once. So it hopefully will continue. In the meantime, we've been down to the station because something that we haven't seen for a few years, because they took them out of service, was the new Siemens trains that they were using on the line between Svichtov and Levski. So we've been down to Oresh station, and while we were waiting for the train, we noticed that there's a stork's nest down there. So we had two storks chattering away to each other. They make this sort of clacking noise. And we're also going to bring you a picture of the train coming into the station, because we've shown you an Oresh train before, pretty old-fashioned, 60s or before. But this one is fairly new, it's modern, it's got electric sliding doors and things like that. And of course, the typical graffiti, which is obligatory in this country. Let's go down to the station. Right now you can see the timber structure of the roof being built, and you'll see how the OSB fits into this in a day or two. You can see from these pictures that it gets quite windy around here at times, so it's important that you make the roof strong enough not to blow away. And the 6mm steel pins that are heated up are actually bent over, and then they're used instead of screws to screw the timber beams down, and then the whole thing is covered with concrete, so don't think the roof is going anywhere anytime soon. If you go out of Svichtov along the Danube towards the east coast, a few kilometers out of town you come to Monument Park, and we've spent quite a few times in this park. There's a little cafe restaurant here. You can go down to the front, the sort of patchy land in front of the Danube, which we've seen flooded many times. It doesn't always do that, but of course we have a bit of rainfall, and there it is, things flood here. I really aren't going to talk about the history behind this monument, because I have a thing about not doing football, politics and religion, and there's a lot of politics behind this. Let me just say that it's to do with the Russian involvement with Bulgaria in history, and leave it at that. I can tell you though, a lot of the local people I talked to here preferred communism and would quite like to go back to it, because they always had a job, they always had a house, they had their holidays paid for, and now a lot of them are struggling, so they see communism as a way back to a time when that didn't happen. That's their opinion, and it's very much a divided country in that respect, and yet they all get on together. That's what's really counting today, that everybody gets on and enjoys themselves. This is the view of the front door from the porch. It's now all plastered up and looking very neat. And inside the house we now deal with the patio door, and a window fitter from the village has been brought in to fit the glass because it needs some spacers which we had to lay our hands on, and in fact we didn't get enough, so there's a bit of improvisation going on. Anyway, watch how the glass goes in. We should end the day with a totally weatherproof unit. And the day finishes with more plastering. There's the window in the bedroom that isn't a window anymore. We picked that up a while back, but it needs the finishing touches. And of course there's the doorways and other areas that we created that also need some finishing touches. A few words about double glazing in Bulgaria. You may have gathered from time to time that we've been bothered by flies and mosquitoes, and therefore you don't want them coming in the house, but you still want the fresh air. Well, all double glazing in Bulgaria has got fly screens on the outside, so the windows open inwards, the fly screen stays in place, so you get your fresh air but the flies and mosquitoes don't get in. This is a demonstration of that principle, where you obviously can't leave a fly screen in place if you're opening a door, so you have an outer door which is a fly screen. It's only very light, but it does the job. What we're not sure about is patio doors. I haven't really seen many patio doors in Bulgaria, and we're having a patio door. I did see in Australia last year sliding versions of this that slide separately on a separate runner outside the patio door, so you can still open your patio door full length, get all the air in, but remember when you go out onto your patio to slide away the fly screen temporarily, otherwise doing. But yeah, I think everything is possible, you just need to know where to get it. And now we introduce Chudamir, who's a farmer from down by the railway station, who's just knocked down a barn, and he had a lot of spare roof tiles, so we purchased those at a second-hand price, and he brought them up and delivered them. I did actually have some of my own tiles stashed away in the house on the hill, but I think last year, when whoever it was cleared the pathway into the courtyard area, I think they probably actually took my roof tiles away that were stored in my barn. Back to shoring up round the patio door, and I don't think Stefan's going to stand here for 24 hours, so we devised a system of props so you can walk away and leave it overnight. And Stefano's plastering again, and we're hoping we'll be able to hang on to him for a little bit longer, but he's got all these other jobs waiting for him, and he's spent weeks and weeks on my little house, so we'll have to let him go pretty soon, but I'm going to get as much done before that as possible. And that's this week's look at the progress with the little house in Oresh.